Will Obama waste precious political capital going after this Susan Rice thing, putting her up for confirmation when he could be focusing on the fiscal cliff and giving us John Kerry?
He will. Go ahead.
I'm going to say he will, because if you look at the history of the Obama administration, they never really throw anyone under the bus unless it involves a re-election.
Or his grandmother.
Or his grandmother, his white grandmother, to be exact. And so I think that he'll probably put her up just to show put it in the face of Congress. But I want to make 2 points based on President Obama's defense of Susan Rice. He was saying that it was not fair to besmirch the reputation of Susan Rice because she had nothing to do with Benghazi. Well, the fact is that Susan Rice is getting attacked because President Obama and his White House aren't answering the questions. And so if he would put up someone else who actually is responsible, if she isn't, then the heat will be off of Susan Rice. And the second point is, Susan Rice, the only reason, she's getting the heat. But then, going back to Dick Durbin's comments earlier that we just played, he is saying that this wasn't the White House. This wasn't something that the White House sent Susan Rice out to do. His exact words were not by her, not by the White House. Well, President Obama said in his own press conference that Susan Rice was sent out on behalf of the White House to talk about Libya and Benghazi. And so he's on one hand saying that people shouldn't be attacking her while he doesn't give someone else for them to
He put her in that position.
He put her in the position,
frankly,
and Democrats are spinning on it.
Lindsey Graham made the point that they found the most compliant person possible to go along with this story.
The administration can't have it both ways. I mean, you alluded to this, which is that at one point they were willing to jump in and say Barack Obama called it terrorism right away. And now they're saying, well, no, actually there are these talking points. The talking points, what were in them, were irrelevant, because any person who's really paying attention, who was just reading what was on the front page of newspapers at that point in time, would have been like, wow, this looks a lot like a terrorist attack.
The president of Libya called it a terrorist attack.
Right. So they're hiding behind this sort of bureaucratic ineptitude. They're very good at that, by the way. They did it with Fast and Furious, as we all know.
But why?
Because they can.
This is the deal.
Because it worked. Because it worked for the election. Because that was the key point. They managed to get past that. And you're asking about political capital now. They think they have more than enough political capital to make Susan Rice the Secretary of State.
So sure.
And I think they're going to go for it.
I don't.
I'm not so sure. When you lose Dana Milbank and Maureen Dowd, you're losing.
The exodus is happening.
You're losing big time.
That's right.
And it's funny, I pulled out the very same part of Maureen Dowd's column chiding Ms. Rice. As an Africa expert, you should have known.
It's scathing.
It's
scathing.
absolutely
As is Milbank.
Eric Holder pardoned Mark Rich, just throwing that out there, and he lost all liberals on that for a while, and then, they came back.
Right, but Dana Milbank saying that the president's defense of Susan Rice was surprising and over the top. I started to think about it.
And imprudent.
I started to think, was there some sort of quid pro quo or implied promise between Susan Rice and President Obama and the White House that if she went on these 5 Sunday shows and she humiliated herself with talking points that were patently false and distorting, would she then be rewarded as Secretary of State?
Let me now pick up on what you just suggested in your first point was, Susan Rice, these are not the drones you're looking for. Susan Rice is not the issue. We need to stop focusing on Susan Rice because she was sent out as the dutiful soldier to read off these talking points that were created for her by someone else.
Which Hillary would not do.
Republicans, I think, should not overly focus on Susan Rice unless you're totally treating her as a proxy. The real issue here is
how, a proxy,
and therefore she shouldn't be the focus. So how was
she's the only person we have?
And it's
I waited, so let me just finish this, then you can have it back. 30 seconds. She said these things. She was given these points, right? She was given these talking points. Who, and by whom, and why? We know now that's not what was given to the administration from the intelligence community. Right. So the question becomes, how were they changed? Buck, you're exactly right. That's going to get just lost in
I know, because I used to do this,
So then why did they get changed? Now, many conservatives suggest is to win an election. We don't want a terrorist attack in the middle of an election. I'm having trouble buying that. What I think it does is it reveals their instincts. The administration looked at 2 conflicting pieces of information, and they chose the path that indicted our values the most. Not that they want to indict our values, but it shows their instincts. Freedom of speech. That's the problem here, not some external enemy, not a terrorism force. We're complicit here. It's cultural relativism. We are indictable.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. But to find out how that narrative got chosen, we have to start at the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece.
She may have to be the path you pursue through.
She is the path. And until someone admits that the narrative was changed, we only got that on Friday.
But if you focus too much on her, she'll be hung out to dry, and the issue will be over. They'll sacrifice her, and the issue will be over.
We don't have anyone else to focus on, Will. No one else went out on the Sunday talk shows to give us a story.
You have the man who's asking you to focus on him.
About the story. What story was she given? who gave it to her, and why is it different from the intelligence?
I'm taking the president up on his offer.
He's
suggesting we focus on him. I think I'm going to take him up on that offer.
I'd love to, but she